Welcome to the Boundless Freedom Show. I'm your host, Deborah Chelette-Wilson, and I'm here today to speak with Laura Cole from Katy, Texas. Hi, Laura. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm wonderful.
Well, hi, Laura. Tell us a little bit about. I understand that your company is called Inspirational Outcomes. And with things going on the way they are in the world, we need some inspiration. So tell us a little bit about that.
I absolutely agree. What I am is a transformational coach and speaker. And basically, what I do is I help people get that gunk out of their minds that's blocking them, whether it's those self critical thoughts. I'm not good enough, or if they need to forgive, anger, whatever it is, that negativity, those low vibrations that are blocking the good stuff from coming in. And then once we clear that out, I say we clear the portal of the good stuff, that information, those aha moments, that still small voice that comes from the universe to give us the answers, because there is an answer to every question, but it's about, like I said, getting rid of that stuff that's blocking us, opening up the door to get it. And then when it does come in, trusting it. You've heard the voice. Now you got to follow through, get a little bit scared out of your comfort zone, and step into what you would love.
So, how did you get started in this kind of process of helping people?
Actually, I was getting my doctorate in spiritual studies from Emerson Theological Institute. And when I finished the book study, I was introduced to the Mary Morrissey Dream Building program. And I went to one of her conferences and they offered coaching, because I walked in and I asked, okay, what's my next step? Because it is my calling to teach these new thought principles. Change your thoughts, change your life. And I was introduced to this coaching program. Very blessed. They gave me structure, helped me through about the steps that I need to take, and I've been doing it ever since, because I love it. And so now that I do have my doctorate in spiritual studies, I'm doing more classes. I have a larger curriculum. Thank you very much. And I'm really starting to present, because I want to get this message out. I love it with my one-on-one clients, but I want to get on the stage and just tell as many people as possible, because it's amazing. These techniques work about clearing the mind and bringing the answers to us.
And so I take it that you've used these in your own life.
Oh, yeah. Every day. Sometimes I have to push that reset button several times, or many times in an hour. But yeah, I teach it to my kids, my partner. My partner's learned how to manifest her last 3 jobs. She's manifested. I teach this technique of writing down exactly what you would love, making affirmations. I am so grateful. I have a job that's 15 minutes from my house. And in Houston, Texas, that's a miracle in itself. With my kids, gratitude is so important. Gratitude is on the same vibrational level as abundance. So every night at the table, we have a gratitude circle. I even have a whole wall in my office that says I'm thankful for, and we get Sharpies of all different colors and write everything that we're thankful for. And when people come over, they write on our thankful wall. So these practices are in my house every day, and they've changed my life. And that's how I know they work as well, because I've been there and I've experienced them.
Yeah, do you think that we don't focus enough on the things that we have to be grateful for, and that can be a problem for us in noticing what we
Oh, I believe that 100%. Living here in America, we have roofs over our head, there's food on our table, there's clothing on our backs. We take advantage that we have these computers, these cell phones that we get to walk around with every day. And if you look at people in third world countries that have no flooring in their house, if they even do live in a house, some are in cardboard boxes, that the kids don't know if they're going to have food day to day. There's just so many things to be grateful for. Actually, one of my favorite gratitude on my gratitude wall is I'm thankful and grateful for the control of my bowels. And that sounds funny, but before I was a coach, a transformational coach, I was a sign language interpreter. And I went on an assignment for a woman that was learning to become a nurse. And so this woman had a stroke. She couldn't move, she couldn't speak, and she had to have a diaper because she couldn't control her bowels. Well, 9 people had to be around her bed, plus me and the instructor, to show how to change her diaper because of that. And I saw the humiliation in her face, but she couldn't express it. So I came straight home and said, I'm thankful and grateful for the control of my bowels, something I would have never thought of, but I was blessed with this experience of seeing what somebody else goes to. So if we walk in a hospital or watch TV about how people are struggling in other countries, we do have so much to be grateful for.
And what is the outcome, if you will, of feeling gratitude about what you have? What if you notice that in your own personal life and with your clients? What kind of happens?
Well, when we have these negative vibration, unhealthy thoughts in our head, self-critical, I never will, or worry and anxiety and fear is a big one. If we can focus on gratitude instead of having those arguments in our head with other people or I'm scared of, when we can focus on that positivity of gratitude, I am so thankful and grateful for, then it takes us to another level. Our brain goes into a higher vibrational state. We're able to think more clearly, and it's able to calm our parasympathetic system down as well, from that constricted feeling to a relaxed feeling when you go into gratitude. Also, when you can be grateful for the abundance that's in your life, even though you don't feel like it is, if your bank account's not the number that you want, what you put out there is going to come back. So the more you're grateful about the abundance that you do have, maybe it's a penny you found on the street, or somebody at the bank gave you a free pen. It doesn't matter if a friend offered to buy you a lunch. Once you start really recognizing and being grateful for these small abundances, well, the universe, God always says yes, is what I say. And so if we're focusing on gratitude of the abundance, no matter how small it is in our lives, then it's going to grow into other areas, and it's just a ripple effect.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that sounds pretty interesting.
Mm.
Now I'm going blank. Sorry.
I can tell you it's about a 5-minute story, but I can tell you one of my favorite ways. I call it my $10,000 summer, about what gratitude and faith and belief did for my partner and I. Would you
Oh,
like to hear that?
yeah, share that with us. That
Okay.
would be great.
So this is one of the best stories. When I started learning these principles, it's time to start practicing. So my
Mhm.
partner and I decided to have the affirmation, I'm thankful and grateful I'll always be financially okay. Because we stayed in gratitude, we stayed in faith and belief that we were going to be provided for, because it's not about money. Money's all about distribution. It just is. It's about funneling it down to us, but we never know where it's going to come. If we're focused on the knowing we'll be taken care of and the gratitude of what it feels like to have it in our lives at that moment, that's the energetic level we create, and that's what comes into our life. So our mantra, I'm thankful and grateful, will always be financially okay. Well, one summer I pushed my partner to start her own business because I love that. Well, she really didn't want to. And we were depending on her to bring in about $10,000, which I thought was going to be simple, but she only brought in 300. She didn't have passion for what she was doing. You can't push other people. They have to want it. But still, we're thankful and grateful we'll always be financially okay. So this is how it came. It's absolutely amazing. The first 2,500 came from a box that was in my garage. It had been at my stepdad's house for decades in the attic, and my mom passed away. He said, come get your stuff. I'm going to move to a smaller house. So now I have this box that's in my garage. I'm throwing stuff out. I open up the lid, and on top was my junior high yearbook. I said, throw it out, because I don't know about you, but I always tell everybody if I ever went to hell, it'd be just like junior high. So I'm like, forget it. But my partner, who's very sentimental, said, oh, I want to look. So she dug through it, and almost at the bottom, she pulled out this manila envelope with my mom's handwriting on it, which I treasure because my mom had passed away several years earlier. And so what a gift. But when I opened it up, inside were $2,500 worth of savings bonds that they had bought when I was a toddler. And it took 30 to 35 years for them to mature. Here I am in my 40s. They're all mature. I could take them straight to the bank. Beautiful. The second way was with my partner. And remember, we manifest what we put out there. She hates the dentist. Oh, that's terrible. It's awful. It's going to hurt. So she goes to get her wisdom teeth extracted. And what happens? Terrible experience, reacts bad to the medicine. We have to make an appointment for the hospital to have it done. Great. So now we're going to the hospital. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be the worst experience. God always says yes. So during the surgery, the anesthesiologist, when they intubated her, they tore her upper palate and down through her throat. It just destroyed her area. Well, because of them trying to cover it up, and we figured it out, she wrote a letter and said, I want my deposit back, or whatever you call it, to pay to even have the surgery done. So $3,500. Here we go. We got that back in the bank. Beautiful. The third was that when my dad passed away, my sister and I got a house in Mexico, and then we sold it. Well, most of it came in a big chunk, but we thought for 5 years we were going to get $1,500. Fantastic. And knew that the contract is up. We had looked at it. We're out, everything. And here my money is getting lower and lower in the bank account, but my partner and I keep saying, I'm thankful and grateful. We'll always be financially okay. Over and over, I'm thankful and grateful. Well, all of a sudden, there's $1,500 in the bank account. Well, the contract, apparently we had one more year left to go. So bam, I got another $1,500 in my bank account. Now the fourth way it came into my life, because now we're up to $7,500. This is actually the most miraculous. I had gone through a divorce 4 years earlier, and it was very tumultuous. My former husband was very angry. We had to meet at the police station for safety reasons. I mean, it was bad. It was really bad. And after 4 years of this, he calls me one weekend, and my kids were with him, so I had to answer the phone, and my hand was shaking. I was so scared. I had such a visceral reaction to this man. Then I answer the phone, and he says, well, the girl I'm dating says she won't stay with me if I keep being angry with you because it's affecting the children. So I've decided to forgive you. My jaw dropped to the ground after 4 years of venomous, I'm not even going to go into, terrible, all of a sudden, flip that switch. But here's the kicker. He said, and I'm going to go ahead and pay you $2,500 back child support. Crazy.
Wow.
So $10,000. Thankful and grateful will always be financially okay. And that's the deal. You don't know where it's going to come from. And you can't force it and make it happen. People think, I got to work more hours, work harder to bring in more money, and that's the only way. It's not. You can get a plane ticket by somebody else donating points. You could get a coupon from somebody that you pass in the street. They say, here, have a free lunch. I mean, you never know how it's going to come. If there's a savings bond in the bottom of a box that's 30 years old, right? So keeping an open hand and letting the universe take care of you, it's very important.
Well, that is awesome. That is very, very awesome. In listening to
Thanks.
you, of what it sounds like, though, is a lot of times people think they've got to do it a certain way. Like, I've got to go out and make X more money. What I'm hearing you say is that limits really the universe's ability to bless you.
Yes, absolutely.
In a myriad of ways. So sometimes our own thinking limits our ability to manifest.
Spot on. That's exactly right. That's why you change your thoughts, you change your life. That's 100% true.
Okay, and part of that, what drives us, I guess you could say, to limiting our possibilities is not thinking we're good enough, or thinking life's got to be hard, or maybe we have to suffer and there's just no way but this way. And if it can't be that way, there's not going to be any other way. Would those be some of the beliefs that get in the way?
Oh, yes, every single day. Uh, if you just change some few little words that you use, like, for example, I tell my clients when they do something to not say, I'm sorry, because the actual definition of sorry is less than. So every time you say, I'm sorry, you're saying, I'm a little bit less than you because I messed up. But you want to have good manners. So I teach them just to say, I apologize, because they're not hearing themselves say, I'm sorry, I'm less than. But it's still the same concept. They're apologizing for what they did. They could have done something better. So they're bringing that about it. And and I even have them use the phrase up until now. When they say, I'm really scared about whatever, I tell them, say up until now, to trick that subconscious that that's it. Or I always gain weight. Cut that off up until now, because whatever we put out there is going to come back. So those negative thoughts about ourselves, thoughts about others, about what we think we're going to experience, if we rehearse those in our head, then that's what we're going to bring. But if we change our mind about what we would love and we focus on that, that's what we start manifesting into our lives.
So the gunky stuff you said that you help people get rid of is the things like that that really get in their way and limit them and keep them stuck and actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy because they keep repeating it.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So is that also part of what kind of keeps people kind of in a victim mentality, where it's kind of like everyone and everything in the universe is out to get them, when they're not really looking
Yes.
at how, that there is a role we all play in our lives? Doesn't necessarily mean bad things happen because of that, but it's kind of what we do with the difficult things that happen to us. If we keep reinforcing those things in our mind, then it's energetically creating a future that we really don't want, but it's like we don't realize we're doing it. Would you say that's what you find?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I say it's all about perspective. There can be three siblings in a room something happened a Christmas 10 years ago, and they all get back together. And even though same room, same people, same conversation, they all interpret it completely different. So I teach people to have gratitude we have gratitude for a car we have, or a relationship we have. That's gratitude for. We already have that. But what I teach people is to have gratitude in, meaning no matter what situation it is, that knowing that there's a lesson to be learned, something's going to come out of this. For example, my neighbors got flooded during the hurricane. And was it a terrible experience? Absolutely. But they moved in with the husband's family. Well, during that time, his mom was diagnosed with brain cancer, and she only had a couple months to live. If they wouldn't have had their house flooded, they wouldn't have had that precious time with her that they got to see her every day. That's just not how it happened. So they're actually thankful that their house had to be repaired because of that. Or a person that has cancer and says, I would never wish this on anybody, but I'm so grateful it happened to me, because this is what turned my life around, gave me a wake-up call, and changed them for the better. Or you can go into victim mentality. Poor me, it's happening to me, it's happening to me. Life is happening with you, and you get to decide from every day, from those gifts that don't feel so good, what you're going to do with them and what you're going to learn from each circumstance we're in.
So our real power, and what I'm hearing you say, is has a lot to do with our perception of things, that we can either perceive them in I guess a negative, depleting victim kind of way, or we can see them in a broader perspective as to what is it that I need to learn from this.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. One of my favorite sayings is, you have more power and potential than any circumstance, situation, or condition.
Mhm.
We have that power, we have that potential, but we can choose to go inward and say, how can I get better? Or we could look at, say, others and say, you need to change. We can't change other people, we can only change ourselves. So what are we going to do with our perspective? What are we going to do with our thoughts in order to change our life? Because when we change on the inside with our thoughts, our beliefs, our behavior patterns, then automatically everything around us changes as well.
Mhm. Well, I know that's been true for me in my life as I've practiced the things that I've learned that are very similar to what you're talking about, and and it does help create a new kind of freedom. You know, of course, that's my show, Boundless Freedoms. That doesn't come from nothing. It's, over the last several years, I was at a point in my life where I had allowed things to kind of accumulate and deplete me. And I was like, no, that's not how I want it. So I shifted my perception and took up time to pause and reflect. And my life is so different now than it was back then, that it's,
Mm.
don't even feel like I'm the same person. So I've learned so much and continue to learn, and that makes life very exciting. And every person gives us an opportunity to learn from them and what they're going through. So I find that very, very helpful. Well, how can people get in touch with you and see if they can get some inspirational outcomes going?
Well, I just released my new website. I'm very excited. It's lauracole.io for inspirational outcomes. So that's LAURACOLE.io. And when you open up the first page, it says, have a strategy session. And this is where I help you dive into your vision, become more clear. We start working on paradigms that are blocking you and get that out of the way. So you can have, it's normally $129, but for this, if you get it through this, when you go in to fill out the information, just type in the coupon code strategy free, and then you'll be able to get that 1 hour of free coaching with me to start making decisions and really building on a life that you love.
Oh, that's exciting. Well, thank you so much for that offer for our subscribers. And thank you again for sharing all this inspiration, because we sure do need it at this time, I think,
Thank you.
in our lives. So this is Deborah Chelette-Wilson,
Okay.
Boundless Freedoms. And thank you all for tuning in. And be sure and visit my website, boundlessfreedoms.com, where you can get more inspiration on products and services to help you get free. Bye-bye for now.